What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Don. We are back with another video. Today I don't have a draft analysis video. Today it was just a regular video that I saw about Lamelo that I thought was interesting. It's from The Ringer. It says, is Lamelo Ball worthy of being the #1 overall pick? And I've been thinking about this as well. You know, we just don't know. Anything is possible. He's probably going anywhere from 1 to 3. You know, you just don't know. Like, if the Timberwolves will take him or not, or Golden State might do something, the Knicks might move up. You just don't know. So, like, I thought this was a good video just to check out and see what they say and just react to it today. You know what I mean? If you haven't already, please check out my last video. Jaden McDaniels, you know, is at number 27. Can we get him? You know, we don't know. There's so many guys now at this point that we have done on this channel. So we're just trying to wait and see for Wednesday, and we'll find out who we draft and where everybody else goes. It's crazy without an NCAA tournament. We haven't really had a lot to go by except for what was the previous year of all these guys that have been playing. So without further ado, let's check out this video and see what they say. And I'll leave the original video in the link below so you can check out The Ringer as well. Make this full screen. There we go.
For someone who's only 19 years old, the life and basketball times of Lamelo Ball have already been a wild ride. There have been Lamborghinis, a bottomless pit of mixtapes, and much criticized forays across the globe.
They call him out. You can't control that little chipmunk. That's crazy. Like, why would you say something like that about a kid? But wow.
Sure, he's gotten famous with his displays of skill and flair, but how applicable will that be between the lines? Playtime's over, and the ink on LaMelo's pre-NBA resume is finally dry. So what's the verdict? Is he a stud or a dud? A gem or a bum? A boss or a bust?
He's obviously one of the best players in this draft. I don't care what nobody says. He's better than his brother. He's the best out of all the brothers. Everybody knows this, but they love to hate him because of all the attention he got early on in his career. And it's crazy because he's actually there now. I feel like we've all kind of watched him grow up, you know, to becoming, like, now he has like tats and different hair and all that. You know, remember how he was taking shots from half court not too long ago.
Lamelo Ball is a brilliantly skilled wing-sized primary ball handler who barely needs a bio rundown. He stands at about 6 feet and 6.6 inches and weighs around 190 pounds. We don't have reliable measurements for his wingspan or his vertical. By my view, he's an agile athlete, but not an elite one with a frame that could and should hold some more weight. Not long ago, I
don't agree. At 6'6", you're very, like, I don't even think he's done completely growing yet. It's crazy. He got his size late on in when he was technically in high school later on, because he wasn't really growing like that. And all of a sudden, he hit that growth spurt, and like here he is now, and he's only getting better. You know, you can tell I'm a fan of his game. I've always been a fan of his game. He can only get better. You know, there's a lot to this kid. I'm telling you that a lot of people don't know. I feel like he has a more of a calm personality where he doesn't necessarily go as hard as he can, because he's always been kind of a chill personality type of dude. But I do think that he has a lot of talent hidden inside of him that he's going to unleash eventually once he makes it to the NBA.
Spent some time pondering the basic facets of player development, and this is what I came up with. The first is education. How much instruction and guidance does a player receive and apply to their game? Second is emulation. Who does the player feel inspired to borrow from or copy? Last is experimentation. Trying things, letting it fly, and consequences be damned. I think that Lamelo Ball is extremely heavy in the experimentation area, maybe as heavy as any high-level prospect that we've had in a long time, and it shows. The best passers in this draft are wing-sized or taller. Tyrese Halliburton, Denny Avdija, and Leandro Bolmaro are...
I did a video on Halliburton. You guys know if you've been watching. Check out that video on Halliburton. I'm on point. You know I'm on point. Make sure you check out that video on Halliburton. I'll put that below as well.
each terrific playmakers, but I think that Lamelo Ball is the most talented passer and ball handler in the 2020 NBA draft, and I don't think that it's close. His comfort level with the ball in his hands is very high. You very rarely see Lamelo stretching his capabilities for control as he navigates traffic or he's in the half court. He varies his speeds well. The ball stays on a string, controlled and tight with his body like an electron orbiting the nucleus of an atom. In fact,
you know, he's had that since he was a kid, though. So I'm not really surprised at that. You know, like Lamelo is able to handle the ball really, really well. He's always been able to do that. That's one of his best qualities as a point guard. It's just his ability to dish the rock. You know, just being able to pass. It's not even his shooting that you saw early on in his career. It's really just the way he's passing is really what makes his game.
Years, it wouldn't surprise me if Lamelo was considered one of the best ball handlers in the world.
He's an artist.
Melo also has an exceptional passing vocabulary. Through tight spaces for dump-offs, low-angle bounce passes of all kinds, lobs on the money from insane distances, he's audacious and creative. The risk-taking can backfire, but he's unbothered by that. That vocabulary and touch are leveraged well by Ball's command of the rhythm that exists between his handle and his passing. When you can seamlessly flow like that on the move, especially with either hand, between a great handle and creative passing imagination, you're able to survey everything with your eyes, but you're also able to make decisions that shave away seconds or fractions of seconds that the defense needs to react.
It's so quick with him. If you're paying attention to a lot of these passes that he's doing, you know, he's not even thinking about the pass. He already knows what's happening. And you're right. Well, the narrator is right in saying that he dribbles almost perfectly in sync between the ball and his hand. So whenever the ball reaches that point where it's back into his hand after the bounce, the pass can come at any time, or it doesn't, depending on what he wants to do. And it's a very good quality to have. Only elite, I call him elite point guard. Only elite point guards have that.
The way he calmly times his dribble to tee up this pass. It would seem like a minor detail, but an aspect that I love about Lamelo's passing technique is his feel for the arc and speed that longer passes should have. Lamelo throws catchable and quickly shootable balls. He also has something in common with his brother Lonzo in that they're both superb passers over the top, and this shows up most frequently in transition. In fact, for prospects at this age, I think that Lamelo might be the best I've ever seen at that particular pass. The arc, the placement, these aren't lucky aberrations. He is phenomenal at it. As a shooter, Lamelo's reputation is understandably cloudy. Through 12 games with Illawarra in the NBL this past season, Ball only shot 25% from 3, and that was on 6.7 attempts per game. At first glance, mechanically, this is not the kind of shot that inspires words like pure or pretty. And when I see players with problematic mechanics like Lamelo, Lonzo, or even somebody like Ben Simmons, all sons of former players who grew up in intensely basketball-focused environments, it makes me wonder, how the hell is this allowed to happen? I know that this was an environment where they were enabled to make choices, but shouldn't someone have intervened at some point when these habits started to develop? Is it maybe because LeVar himself was never much of a scorer, according to his college coach?
We don't know. That's an interesting point, though. I gotta say, it's not the best looking shot in the world, and I do think that eventually Lamelo will probably change that shot, just like Lonzo did. Lonzo changed it up a little bit, and it got better. You know, in the NBA, you gotta be efficient. You know, if you're shooting about 25% from 3, and it was about on 6 attempts a game, that's not too good for a point guard. But I feel like the shot can change. But at the same time, he doesn't have to change it completely. He just has to adjust it to a point where it goes in better, which is always possible. But there's something to be said from, you know, when you're a kid, you know, basketball is repetition. How he got to that point where it's kind of looking like that, we don't know. You know, you would think LeVar is heavily on him when it comes to stuff like that. So it's not the thing in the world that makes the most sense for Lamelo's shot to be that way. But, interesting.
The caveat with Lamelo's shooting, in my opinion, is that you can't just take it at face value. You have to lean in a bit and contextualize what you're seeing. He has the optics of somebody that can take and make bad shots. The good ones make you go, oh. The bad ones make you go, oh. Lamelo's energy transfer, odd as it is, looks somewhat effortless, whether moving or off the catch. He shoots with zero issue off the dribble and quickly. Now, once the ball's loaded up and he's gearing up the release, there is more flaring going on than John Hammond's tour through the Tyrannosaur paddock. All that said, it does end in an acceptable place. He appears to thumb the ball a bit, but his shooting hand is behind the ball, and I do think that Lamelo has demonstrated exemplary touch in enough aspects of his game for us to have some faith in him. In general, it's a quick, soft release without a noticeable hitch. The biggest factor here, however, is the lower half of his body. Ball has a habit of really letting his legs drift underneath of him, and it's not just a momentum-induced phenomenon. Because of this, his shoulders tend to rotate a bit with the ball, and his hips and legs follow, often causing him to land with his feet facing towards the left and many times crossed. This has been going on for a long time, all the way back to his early Chino Hills days when...
You know, hey, we're sitting here analyzing. Those are definitely things. I'm not gonna say that it's bad, but at NBA level, you might struggle with those type of things. That because basketball, like I just said, is really mechanics, and I haven't seen too many players end like that mechanically. His feet are literally crossed. Like I don't know if we can we go back a second just to show. Yeah, perfect. His feet are literally crossed. You know, you don't want to end like that when you shoot the ball. It makes it very hard for balls to go in consistently, especially under pressure. You know, but it'll be interesting to see how long he'll rock with it. I think and he'll work on it. He's gonna work. They're gonna tell him to work on it, and he will work on it.
Towards the left and many times crossed. This has been going on for a long time, all the way back to his early Chino Hills days when his identity within the Ball Brothers trio was to slink around the court like a Muppet version of Steph Curry, jacking them up from 30 and 40 feet against players that were mostly bigger and stronger than him. When he was 14 years old and maturing physically, I think that he had to propel himself like that, to simply get enough power in his shot to reach the rim. The problem is that he didn't really hone that technique in the following years. Lamelo shot 83-pointers in those 12 games this past season. 4 of those were heaves, so we'll exclude them. I did my best to chart the attempts when his feet flailed out in front of him like this, and here's what I found. 35 of those 3-point attempts were what I would consider pronounced flails, and around October 24th of 2019, we started to see more of a focus on taking set shots where his legs stayed squared underneath him, his right foot slightly forward to generate more power, and his shoulders more squared through his release. It's not perfect, but I think this is a much better looking shot, and we saw more of this.
Okay, so you did work on it. Good. You know, you have to. You have to. I think as basketball players, even though I never really played basketball, I'm just a guy that loves the game, you know. So my analysis is better than my actual personal experience. But, you know, like the higher you get up in level, you know, you want to have every type of advantage to make sure you make your shots. Because if you're not making your shots, they're going to point out this and that and this and that. So I think he's heard it, you know, and it's only going to get better in my opinion. It's not going to get worse.
As the season progressed. On these set attempts, he went 10 for 27, which is 37%. This is a repeatable shot for him, something that I think that he can build on. Brilliance often comes with quirks. Mozart had that laugh. Baby Yoda cruelly ate those eggs of a near-extinct species while the mother was nearby. Lamelo had some concerns within his game that need addressing. Something that I've noticed is that Lamelo seems a little tentative once he gets into the teeth of the defense. He's a rhythm player, and when teams in the NBL played him in drop coverage, that drop between the three-point line and the charge circle would at times noticeably disrupt his comfort and rhythm. It was almost like a sudden lack of pressure totally pulled the chair from under him. This is an area where I think Lamelo really has the ability to grow. I'm lukewarm, leaning cold on his dribble pull-up game, but I'm a big fan of his runner and floater game in the middle of the floor. He hit on 42.9% of those shots, and his touch there is amazing. The issue is that he's had a bad habit of jumping the gun once he turns the corner in the pick and roll, either taking a shot from bizarrely far away or awkwardly attacking in a way that ends in a bad attempt or a clumsy turnover. That odd decision making can show up in isolation situations too. Like I said, with momentum, with someone in front of him, he excels, but when he's attacking a set defense, it often seems like he's just aimlessly stringing together dribble sequences without really responding to what the defender is actually doing.
No, true, absolutely true. But that's where comfort takes place. Like the more comfortable Lamelo gets, I think he'll learn that. You have to learn that. He's gonna learn that in like 3-4 years or so. And it's not gonna take him that long because the more NBA experience you get, the better you get at it. I think of course the good defenders, like let's say you got a Beverly on you, or you got a Avery Bradley on you. When you really got these NBA level guys, you're gonna learn what to do in what scenario. And sometimes a pass out is not a bad play just to get the ball back again, to reset yourself. He doesn't have to make the play all the time. I think that's what people should tell him. He doesn't have to make the flashy play immediately. You can pass out. You can go for a screen. You can do so many things. It doesn't have to be a isolation cross pull up all the time. But I think he'll learn that. There's plenty of room to grow.
He should be cooking switches like this in the NBL, but too often he ends up in these unproductive east-west movements and then settling for a bad perimeter shot. When he's decisive, when he attacks and makes a simple move, he's a clever and crafty enough finisher to make good things happen. With his playmaking chops, the more that he gets the hang of playing chess with the backline of the defense.
See, that's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. A pass out is not a bad thing at all. Sometimes when you drive into that lane, everybody's going to pressure you. A pass out is not bad at all. You can always get the ball back. He doesn't have to make the flashy play all the time. But that's all practice. These are not things that he's going to do forever. I think he's very talented, and he'll learn what makes him good and what honestly makes bad plays. So from there on out, he just has to understand percentages and how he feels like he's going to be effective based on his flow of the game. And then from there, he'll make better decisions based on the experiences he's had before in previous games and previous trips down, the court.
Scoring, accepting contact, and forcing them to play him, the more of a headache he could become. Defensively, forecasting young players can be an alchemy where you're looking for subtle clues beyond what the results of the numbers might say. Such is the case with Lamelo. I typically take defensive stats with a gigantic grain of salt, but Lamelo's rating as one of the worst overall defenders in his league did line up with the eye test. He was very often low-motored and unfocused. He was a matador guarding the ball. He frequently got lost in actions away from the ball. He showed poor technique by doing things like inexplicably standing upright as the screen was coming. And I think the questions that you're going to have to ask yourself are A, why did this happen? And B, what do we think he's actually capable of? This is at least in part due to the fact that this is the first time in his life that he's been held accountable to play defense.
Right. You got to remember, when he was young, he didn't have to play defense because he was scoring like 40, 45, 50 points. More than that even, And that goes back on LeVar too. I feel like some things that make you an overall good professional player, you're good jumper, and okay defense. You don't have to be the best defender, but you got to be able to defend. And we don't see much of that with LaMelo. The defending is not something I think about when I think of LaMelo. But we will see. We'll see. I don't think it's there. It's not there enough. They might take advantage of him for a little bit. Defensively it might be exposed, and he's gonna struggle in the beginning with that. Definitely, because they're gonna attack him like he's never been attacked before. And hopefully he can get to a solid level. His brother seems to be better, Lonzo. So hopefully he can get to a solid level at least to stay ahead of guys. Because in close situations, you might be guarding the best guy. In fact, you will be guarding the best guy. Imagine a Damian Lillard, a Kyrie Irving. These guys are no joke. You know what I mean? That's why he has to work on that.
Was exacerbated by the fact that Illawarra had the worst record in the NBL this past season, 3-9 when Lamelo was in the lineup, and there were times when their team defensive communication was unthinkably bad. I have my doubts that he's ever a plus defender, but the time for excuses is over. Lamelo has the size and quickness at 6'7" to be at least somewhat switchable, and the positional instincts to be a solid team defender. He's not going to be a mistake eraser. He's not going to effectively ball hawk high-level scores, but he can be better. The tools for elite or great defense are a gift, but good or passable defense is often a choice. The ball is in his court on this one.
That's exactly what I said. You're going to have to start playing some defense. You can't just be out there shooting your three-pointers, getting your layup packages in, because on the other end it counts as well. And people will notice quick, so he has to work on that.
I know that this is an odd comparison, but if we're looking at the skill set and how he got here, you can easily compare Lamelo's development to that of Pistol Pete Maravich. Both players grew up in homes where they were excessively groomed by parents who were former athletes. Both consistently were enabled to play extremely freely, and that allowed them to grow into audacious and virtuosic ball handlers and passers. And both players accumulated a lot of fame that ran parallel to their actual success on court as a result. Fame within the basketball world and respect among the people who work seriously within it are two things that don't always go hand in hand. Maravich and Lamelo are also similar in the fact that they seem to irritate a sector of basketball purists. Look, I don't know the depths of Lamelo as a person. There are some questions that we just can't answer. Is he a killer? Does it irk him that people want to show him up? With all the fame and success and comfort that he's gotten off of the court, just how driven is he? From afar, he seems like a mostly quiet kid who's grown up in a circus of media coverage and off-court celebrity. He's hard to read, but what I do know is that Lonzo is a solid NBA player that came from the same environment while facing similar criticisms coming out of college. And I think that Lamelo is even more of a talent. My expectation is that, at his peak, Lamelo hovers in that range of the top 35 to 60 players in the league. I think that he'll be below average on defense and skilled enough as a playmaker and scorer to be an above average starter in the NBA. The type of player that's more of a co-pilot star than a QB1. Somebody that can squeak their way into an all-star appearance if the cards break just right on a given year. I think that he's going to be a top-tier pick-and-roll and transition playmaker. I think that he'll be a passable spot-up shooter and someone that can generate easy buckets in the middle of the floor. Lamelo has the talent to justifiably be taken with the top pick in the 2020 NBA draft, and the talent to surpass my prediction. I do assume that I'm going to be entertained either way. Let me know if you agree.
First of all, what an excellent video. Go subscribe to The Ringer. Hold on. That was one of the best videos I ever seen on Lamelo. Go subscribe to these guys. Shout out to The Ringer, man. That was a great video. Just the analysis. It got us thinking. And I think he's right. He'll probably be one of the top 30 or 60 players or so. He'll be an above average NBA player at his peak. He might never be known for his defense, but he'll defend somewhat. And I think he'll be a solid player. Now, will he be MVP? I think there's a lot of growing to do. But that's okay. You're supposed to. He's not supposed to be coming out firing. Who's expecting him to do that? I'm not. But do I think he's a solid NBA pick? Yeah, I do. But let me know what you think in the comment section about Lamelo. Who's taking him first? We don't know. As a Knicks fan, if we can, would I take him? Yeah. Why not? He's a good young guy to develop around. He came from the same school as Lonzo, and Lonzo got a lot better. But people don't realize because he's not playing for the Lakers anymore. Pelicans don't exactly come on TV like that. Let your boy know in the comment section. Like, comment, rate, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I will see y'all next time, man. We're almost at the draft. Keep y'all posted on any new videos. But it's your boy, Don. And I'll see y'all next time, man. Peace, I'm out.